afternoon, everybody. Keith Angle here, TGI Sports Talk, Major League Baseball update. Hope you're all doing well. For those of you who usually catch me in the mornings on TGI Sports Talk's Are You Serious? And even on the Mac and Jack show from 9 to 9:30, 9 to 10, whatever it might be that day. I apologize, as I had some personal business to attend to this morning and was not able to go live. We'll make it up to you somewhere down the line, I promise you. And my personal business has kept me pretty busy trying to get myself updated myself. Major League Baseball. It's great, man, if you're an Orioles fan, with one exception, as we'll talk about in a little bit. It's great if you're a Rangers fan. It's great if you're an Astros fan. If you're a Phillies fan, a Dodgers fan. Not so great if you're a Diamondbacks fan or a Yankee fan or Reds fan. Lots going on, guys. Lots going on. We are going to dive into Major League Baseball today and see what's happening around the league since we last talked. We'll get back to a little bit more of a standard around the league update format. The last couple of weeks, we've looked at the trade deadline with our own Drew Ehrlich. Thank you, Drew, for helping me out the last couple of weeks. Want to say hello to everybody who's watching, not only on TGI Sports Talk today, but on Let's Talk Sports, and anybody who will catch this later, and any of the groups that allow me to share it to these shows too. And I am so happy for you guys to let me do that. These shows have been very well received. And we're back with the College Football Huddle. Don't forget, on Wednesday nights at 7, the Sunday Stream of Consciousness at 8:30 a.m. on Sunday. Baseball, guys. You know, I got to tell you, we're going to go around the league. Lots of things going on. Some great races. I think we're going to have a great race with the where was I going to start? The Rangers and the Astros. Rangers have thrown everything at the Astros, and they just keep hanging in there. Still my pick to get to the World Series and repeat against the Braves, as I said last week. I want to start today, though. We're going to get into the divisions. We'll go around the league. We'll look at some of the top stories. To me, the top story, though, and I don't understand this. Maybe somebody can explain it. Let me get the music killed here. I know it can be distracting for some of us who are over a certain age and about to become even older. It's me. What is going on? What is wrong with the Baltimore Orioles, by the way? How do you suspend Kevin Brown, longtime play-by-play announcer, both on radio and TV? They removed him from their TV broadcasts for basically giving the team a compliment. If all you want is homers, guys, then, you know, go find Michael Kay. Hire Michael Kay away from the Yankees, please. All Kevin Brown did, see if I can find the exact information. He basically talked about how the Orioles had turned things around against the Tampa Bay Rays. The record the last couple of years against the Rays was abysmal. Where was it? Oh, I should say, at the Tropicana. They won 3 of 5, 3 of their first 5 games this year. They won to Trop after winning only 3 of 21 the last 3 years. So, and to me, it's a compliment of this year's team. Great job, guys. Great job. But nope. Powers that be only heard how bad he was saying they were the previous 3 years. This comes a couple of years after they fired their longtime public address announcer, Ryan Wagner. Was dismissed hours before the opener for some tweets that he put out. Guys, I want my announcers to be unbiased. They can be a little bit of a homer. I'll be okay with that. They don't have to all be Michael Kay and Phil Rizzuto. If you speak out against, the Yankees had this problem for years when Tony Kubek was there. because he would not kowtow to the Yankee powers that be, mainly George Steinbrenner, and not Rip Steinbrenner in the team when he saw fit to do so. Now Kevin Brown doesn't even rip the team. He gives them a compliment. Oh, God, and he gets suspended. I mean, this is not ruining, but this is a tarnish on a great story in Major League Baseball. The Orioles are a great story with the way they've basically, I don't want to say running away with the American League East, but certainly doing very well and having a 3-game lead over Tampa Bay after really Tampa Bay getting off to a dramatic start. This just makes the Oriole organization look small and petty. What are they thinking about over there? I don't get it, man. Somebody's got to explain this to me. Why? The other big story this week, which is, and guys, I want to hear your comments, your topics, any topics you want to cover this hour. 52 minutes, whatever we got left. Please bring up. We're going to get to some of the news of the day and some other stuff. Big news in Philadelphia. Michael Lorenz, who was brought over from Detroit at the trade deadline, pitches a no-hitter the other night. Great story. No-hitters are always fun. We don't get as many as we used to because of all the rules that are put into favor hitters, as I talk about constantly. I mean, we had a perfect game / no-hitter out of Herman from the Yankees earlier this year, and his season has since gone up into flames. But it's a good story. Michael Lorenz, who, by the way, it's a shame he doesn't get to hit because he's also a great hitter. We'd love to get to see him hit. What do we got here? There's our own Drew. I didn't mean to ignore you. Trade deadline update. The infamous Taylor Hearn is called up. AJ Pollock gets hurt. I think it's a blessing that AJ Pollock gets hurt. I mean, he was about to fall under 100, his batting average. Zach Muckenhern. Time to consider a name change, Zach. He was part of that famous Met Mariner trade from a few, I guess, 6 weeks ago, whatever it might have been. DFA. A lot of good, who cares? And not that I'm not saying that to you, who cares? Some of these trades are who cares. These guys, we're just trading for whatever. All right, Drew wants me to bear in mind the Orioles public relations staff had included. Oh, this is backing up the story. Very good point. The Orioles' own public relations staff had included the remarks or the note about that stat this year compared to the last 3 years in the pregame media package for Kevin Brown to refer to. And Messon's graphics department had worked up a display showing the same information, yet Brown's stating the facts with little additional commentary drew ire from ownership, who believed it made us look cheap. Yes. It made us look cheap. It makes you look cheap now. It makes me look small. You're got an organization that is a feel-good story, maybe the feel-good story of the year. In my mind, absolutely the feel-good story of the year. Last year, too. This year, they've taken the next step. And you tarnish it with these types of stupid commentary. I just, somebody help me. Help me. It just shows ownership is dumb in Major League Baseball. Tone deaf, if you will. I'm trying to find Michael Lorenz no-hitter. I think it was Wednesday night, wasn't it? Let's see if I can find it. Take a quick look at some of the numbers from that. It's nice to see that type of activity. Let's talk about that, something a little more positive, right? So Michael Lorenz actually pitches a 9-inning no-hitter, which is, doesn't happen every day. That in itself. Give me the full box score. I don't need to see that. 9 innings pitched, 4 walks, 5 Ks, 124 pitches they let him throw. He will probably never be the same. Hang on. Let me kill this sound here. I hate that. There's the, by the way, I just saw the final out of this. Should have shared that, huh? 124 pitches. Today, that's like throwing 300. But congratulations to him shutting out the Nationals. I don't care if it was the Nationals. A no-hitter's a no-hitter. We said the same thing when, or I said the same thing when Herman pitched a perfect game against the A's. And people said, well, it's not a Major League Baseball team. Yeah, it is. Maybe it's not a good one. The Orioles have the second lowest payroll in Major League Baseball, so the fact that they're cheap is correct. Orioles fans, by the way, expressed their annoyance with ownership. Yes, they did. And good for them. Good for them. I really believe that this organization should be embarrassed. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, and Drew, you can help me out, fill this in. I don't remember the rest of the story. After he was suspended from TV, he was asked to do the radio the next night because they suspended somebody for something else. I don't remember the whole story. I might be mixing up the facts, but whatever. Again, more hypocrisy, stupidity, whatever you want to label this in Major League Baseball. And it just is so frustrating. People want to get on players. I get on players. Management doesn't get it. My God, it's a compliment. You looked cheap because you are cheap, by the way. Maybe, where's Dave Guyette? What's he watching here? See what Dave's messaging me for. He's usually on the show here. Maybe he can't comment. Dave Guyette, the Yankees definitely need to fire Boone and Cashman. My weekly comment from Dave Guyette, not in the room. I get it in a text. Thanks, Dave. I hope you're watching. And yes, you're right. They do need to be fired. Yankees not only, by the way, just to skip gears a little bit here. The Yankees don't just need to blow things up. They're not even just playing bad baseball. They're boring. They're boring to watch. Oh, my God. Boone at least gave me a little excitement doing his little dab the other night when he got thrown out for arguing balls and strikes, and Laz Diaz did not like throwing him out of the game already. But, Boone, I will give Boone this. He does some pretty good theatrical stuff when he's trying to get himself thrown out of the game. I wish he could be as effective as a major league manager as he is in arguing with umpires and giving us a Billy Martin-like type show. Nobody likes working for the Angelos family. Again, why? Yeah, I mean, Peter Angelos, I believe, passed away a long time ago, and his family still runs it, but it's being run exactly the same way. Why do they still own the team? If you remember, oh gosh, middle of last decade, I want to say the middle of last decade, Buck Showalter was there and had rebuilt, helped. I'm not going to say he did it on his own. Rebuild that organization into a playoff team. They made the playoffs 2 or 3 consecutive years, which was not happening in Baltimore at the time. And then they ripped it all down because they won't pay anybody. They wouldn't pay Manny. Bye-bye. Adam Jones. Bye-bye. It'll happen probably to this incarnation of the Orioles as well. Oriole fans, listen, I don't want to tarnish your good times this year, your buzz. I don't want to harsh your buzz, but you know what? Enjoy this because it won't last. Just to show you how thin-skinned and short-sighted this organization is, this whole story is an example of just that. Oh, gosh. It's just shocking. Tone deaf. Some other news around baseball. Let's chat about real quickly. We'll go around the leagues. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to bring up today. I don't know if we got a chance to talk about the Hall of Fame ceremonies on this show. We talked briefly about it. I will say, and if we want to get into this topic, we can. Listen, this year with Scott Rowland going in, I just don't get what the Hall of Fame's all about anymore. Nice player. Ugh. Just annoying. Chris Sale back from the 60-day injured list for the Red Sox. He had last started on June 1st. He got off to a bad start. He had a pretty good stretch before he got hurt. His overall number is not great, 5-2 at a 4.58 ERA, but he'll be back, and he'll start against the Rangers tonight. I'm sorry, the Tigers tonight at Fenway Park. And they sent Brendan Walker down in a related move. Jose Bautista, he retires with the Blue Jays. He comes back, signs a one-day contract, whatever they do here, right? One-day contract, retires a member of the Blue Jays where he spent 10 seasons. He's 42 years old. He was kind of a journeyman before he got to Toronto. Became a really good power hitter for the Blue Jays. Helped them get to the playoffs a couple of times. He earned the nickname Joey Bats. He also drew my ire and probably other people's ire with his. He may have been probably not, but he may have been the initiator of the bat flip, or at least the exaggerated bat flip, which caused some problems with certain other members of competitors on other teams, I should say, and fans like myself. I mean, come on. Like Barry Sanders said when he scored touchdowns, here you go. He didn't spike the ball. He said, I wanted to act like I'd been there before and expected to be back. And again, then I'm told it's a cultural thing, and I've got to go crawl back into my cave, basically. And I'll admit, I'll be the first to admit I'm a bit of a caveman. I mean, I am what I am. Prehistoric man. You're looking at him. Get off my lawn. You're looking at him. Politically incorrect. You're looking at him. But please, I get it. Do I say that I want guys to be robots out there? No, but unless you're going to let pitchers throw at hitters, which you probably should do more than you do today anyway, because as soon as somebody gets pitched inside, they're charging them out or we're warning the dugouts, then don't flip the bats and show up the pitcher. Put the pitchers back out there to hit, all right, please, and then flip all the bats you want. I guess that doesn't make sense, does it? Now that I think about it, that wouldn't help. Anyway. AL West is the hottest division of baseball. Bad luck for the Angels. The Angels, by the way, and we'll get to that. I'll get to more stories, and we'll go through all the divisions too, Drew, in a little bit. But the Angels have been they've righted the ship a little bit with a couple wins in a row. But they're 3-7, I think, in their last 10. They've been atrocious since the deadline, since they want to show Ohtani. They don't trade Ohtani. You can't make this stuff up. They don't trade Ohtani because they're going to show Ohtani they want to win, and then they go promptly lose 9 out of 10. Oh, gosh. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Again, just not smart management of a baseball team. You have to understand where you are and what your possibilities are. What's the end game? What's the end result they want? They want to get Ohtani back. How's that going to happen? They're going to negotiate it with him in free agency against other teams. No matter what they do, that's going to happen. Whether he's a member of the Angels or whether he's a member of, I don't know, the Texas Rangers. You should have traded him. You should have got some prospects. And then you should have tried to re-sign him, because you don't have an easier sign getting him back now than you did before. And they've shown the moves they made have were counter to what they were trying to accomplish. I have no idea how the internet feed is today, by the way. I did not do a speed test before I got on, but I think it's okay. Seems as if the Padres and Angels should feel regret for me. Yeah, exactly. Both teams, several teams should. And probably some teams that didn't go all in, like the Diamondbacks, who are just falling through the floor right now. The Reds, they didn't make any major moves. Going back to the Orioles, I still think they may regret they didn't make more moves. Thank you, Drew. It's funny because, and for those of you who don't know the ongoing drama of Keith's feed, I had Time Warner Spectrum come and move the router and the modem right next to me. So now I do get a hiccup like when I start, but I see a little bit, and maybe it's just, my screen, hopefully. And I do go review the shows, and I don't really see anything but a couple of hiccups. So anyway, that debacle seems to be over. Who's this? Walk River Country Club tomorrow. Boston Spa. I'm looking at my golf date tomorrow. Sorry, guys. ADHD creeps in and just destroys Keith's show. Anyway, Jose Bautista retires. There's some great shots of him flipping a bat if you'd like to see it. Cedric Mullins out since July 15th, activated off the IL. Oh, I said it. The DL. He'll get to play. Hopefully, he'll get to play Friday night. The former All-Star was not having a great year, but still a very key cog in this team. He has 9 homers, 47 RBIs, and 14 steals in just 69 games. That's pretty good because I think Aaron Rodgers has cooled off a bit. I do this all the time. Aaron Hicks has cooled off quite a bit since he returned. Clayton Kershaw returned, and he was sharp in his return as he gets a no decision, and the Dodgers do get the win as they rallied late yesterday. But he pitched pretty well in his first start since July 27th and gave up – that doesn't sound right. Gave up 1 run and 3 hits in 5 innings. So welcome back to him, and let's hope he doesn't get hurt again. Clayton Kershaw, by the way, whatever you think of Clayton Kershaw and his postseason struggles, one of the great pitchers of our time, this era. And you should be rooting for him, not against him. So Freddie Freeman, by the way, committed his first error of the season in that game. Another story that'll make me probably the minor league affiliate, the Atlanta Braves minor league affiliate in Rome, Georgia, will be dropping its Braves nickname. The team has no plans to change its relationship with the Braves, but it will join other minor league teams that have rebranded their own unique nicknames for marketing purposes. If that's what's going on here, that's fine. If it's for other reasons, please. Bryce Harper got himself hurt a little bit again the other day. Had some back spasms. He's going to be day-to-day for a bit. I think it was announced this week, too, that he will not be playing right field at all this year. Does not help the Phillies or their chances. Now, they're on a good roll again. The good Phillies team is here again. They've been on a roller coaster pretty much most of the year. The D-backs and the Reds were at least a year ahead of schedule. You and I talked a lot about, the Diamondbacks anyway. The Reds, I thought, were totally not going to be back for a while. They recognize where they were. It's important that you look in the mirror and you realize who you are. The only team I've been wrong about this with so far is the Reds. I'm sorry, not the Reds, the Cubs. We'll see if that lasts. I don't care about that story. Kevin Brown. Whoops. Hold on. Slow down. Got the clicker going way too fast. We talked about Lorenz. Phillies prospect, top prospect, Ethan Sales, 17, makes his high A debut. Somebody that they have great hope in. By the way, it happened after our show last Sunday, the Stream of Consciousness, but what a great, you don't usually see. I thought, as far as baseball fights go, I really like the Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez fight that happened on, I believe, Sunday afternoon. And there were some great memes on Facebook that went along with it, as Jose Ramirez really landed a great right hook that flattened Anderson, and down goes Anderson. Memes were started all over. Finally, a good start. Lorenzen, whatever. Tell him to pitch more no-hitters, and I'll learn his name. What'd I call him? Lorenz? Let me put my wrist brace back on because I got to get ready for golf tomorrow. Time to immobilize my wrist so maybe I can make it. What else? Lorenzen. I think I knew that. Sometimes I get lazy with my pronunciations, and it's become my thing. Me and Norm Crosby. I think we were twins, separated at birth. Some bad news for the Rays is Shane McClanahan, unlikely to pitch again this season. What else? Former Tigers radio analyst Jim Price passed away at 81 years old. And Carlos Rendon. Is anybody shocked at this? I told you guys all winter the worst signing the Yankees had made in years, and a team that's made a bunch of bad signings, was Carlos Rendon. Had a couple of good years in San Francisco, but everything in his history before that said this was a risky signing. Guaranteeing him $162 million over 6 years at 30 years old. He didn't get the pitch until July, and he's 1-5 with a 7.33 ERA, and he got knocked all over the ballpark Sunday and conveniently left with a calf issue. I believe it was a calf issue. I mean, come on. Carlos Rendon. This is exactly why the Yankees are in the place that they're in. This team is in a lot of trouble, guys, not just this year, but going forward. They need a total remake. You guys brought it to my attention on the show, Sunday Stream of Consciousness show about Stanton. I missed it on Sunday, the way he's running the bases like he's out for a Sunday jog. Slower than a Sunday jog. How long do I have to put up with this? Ray's starting staff, they have. This is why, the Savali, it was a great pickup for them. He's not a flamethrower, but he's a good pitcher and a smart pitcher, as we talked about here on the show with Drew last week. But I mean, if there's a jinx on this organization, maybe he better duck. Maybe he should duck. I don't know. What else? Let's go through the divisions. Let's jump to the divisions. Get to this. Oh, by the way, the other thing, before Ohtani was Ohtani, there was Fernando Mania. Fernando gets his number retired by the Dodgers coming up here. So I think it's about time. If you were alive in 1981, you have to remember Fernando Mania. And there was nothing like it that I could remember before or since. There was the Bird a little bit in 78. But he was phenomenal as a 20-year-old. Maybe he was 20. Maybe he's 62 years old now. But they don't retire numbers. Jim Gilliam is the only other player to have his number retired, his number 19 retired. It was 2 days after his sudden passing in 1978. So congratulations to Fernando. And just a reminder, Fernando Mania was a real thing. We lived through it. It was a lot of fun. So what was I going to do? Oh, right. I don't even want to look at the scoreboard last night. Let's jump into the standings. American League East. Drew's typing feverishly as we speak. The Orioles have gotten to 27 games over 500, 7-3 in their last 10. Continue to lead the Rays by 3 now. What the heck is MRCC? And Tampa by 7. Tampa's slowed down a little bit, was playing better baseball, but they've slowed down just a bit. The Red Sox going backwards at 4-6. The Yankees at 4-6. Not just the fact that the Yankees are playing bad baseball, 3 games over 500. It's boring. It's boring baseball besides. I mean, look at the Orioles are making the playoffs. The Rays are likely making the playoffs. So now we've got a race for 2 spots, probably amongst Toronto, Houston, Seattle, who's back in this race. Only 3 games. Actually, they hold. Let me back up. 1, 2. I should go to the wild card. Let me just go to the wild card breakdown. The Rays have the first spot. The Astros have the second spot. And the Orioles, just a game and a half lead over the Mariners, who we're giving up for dead. No real significant moves at the deadline other than trading their closer. Yankees and Red Sox are almost dead here. I mean, I know 6 games is not a lot. But does anybody see this team? By the way, when you go back and look over the Yankees over the last 200 games, they're under 500. Where did I see that stat? I wish I knew where I saw that. I think it was in the Post. Hang on a second. You've got to look. It's not just this year that is making the Yankees look so bad. If you look at them over, where is that story? I skipped it this morning. I didn't open it up. I knew what it was about, and I know, the basics of it. Damn it! Now it's gone. Let me see if I can find more. Basically, over the last 200 games, they're under 500. Here it is, time span. First 84 games this season were the best. Last season, the Yankees were the best team in baseball. They were 61-23. 38 games over 500 with a 15.5 game lead in the AL East. We talked about the Rays' historic pace. We forget about the Yankees last year. After hitting that high water mark, the Yankees have played to 100 and 102 record, including the playoffs, in the last 203 games. Why does that give me any confidence the Yankees are going to bounce back out of this? They're not. Aaron Boone, great theatrics the other night. Laz Diaz was bad. Oh, and by the way, oh, God, who's our umpire we love to hate? I forgot his name. Did the plate Sunday afternoon against the Yankees. He was terrible. No, it'll come to me. But these aren't the reason the Yankees are losing games. Yankees didn't lose that game because Laz Diaz kept calling balls like this strikes, balls this far outside strikes. Aaron Boone, if the players would show the energy Aaron Boone showed, we might be getting somewhere. AL East still the only division with all teams over 500. The AL West would be there too, but, well, he's steak, man. What's the pace now, Drew? Help me out with the pace while I do the Central here. The Twins with a 3.5 game lead over the Guardians. The Guardians have fallen 4 games under 500. Played really badly recently, 3-7 in their last 10. The Twins are going to have to play 500 baseball probably to win this division. Tigers falling backwards. Again, another team that, again, how do you not convince your best pitcher that it's in his best interest to get traded to a team that might win the World Series? I understand your family's here. I just have to wonder where the guy's priorities are. And I get it. Okay, family. I get it. You're a young guy, your career. Now, if he goes in a tank the rest of this year as a Tiger, when he could have had a chance to go to the Dodgers and participate in a playoff run deep, maybe a world championship, how would that have played on his resume going into free agency? Because he's going to opt out. And he may like it on the East Coast, but he's not opting into his contract unless he totally implodes here. The rest of this division, the White Sox, who are terrible unless you're playing the Yankees, then you can sweep them. Great job. And, of course, the Royals, who are now 4 games behind the A's. Well, 3.5, I guess. In their race to eclipse the 120 loss mark. I believe the A's, I can't do the math quick. They got a shot. 40. Now, they'd have to go 7. To break the record, they'd have to go 8. And, wow. 8 and 58 the rest of the year. No, that's not right. 20. 8 and 39 the rest of the year to break the record. 8 and 39. They got it in them to go 8 and 39. I jumped ahead to the West here. The Rangers are playing great baseball. I have admitted pretty much weekly now, Alan Perales, that I was wrong about this Texas team. Max Scherzer, who hasn't pitched great, but he's won his first 2 decisions with Texas. They're 8-2 in their last 10, had a bit of a speed bump. They made some big moves, some bold moves at the trade deadline because they're a team that knows they're in it and can go for it, and they are. But the Astros are staying right with them. Only 2.5 games back, and they are defending champions. They're the champions of baseball until somebody dethrones them. And I still like their chances to repeat against the Braves, who we'll talk about in a second. Hang on a second. I got a Braves update. 46 wins. Orioles are not going to make it now. They blew it. 46 wins would leave them with, let's just say it's 46. I'll round down for the sake of argument. That's 116 losses. I still think they got 8 and 39 in them to get to 121 losses. Let's root for that. The Mariners, 9-1. They didn't make a lot of moves at the trade deadline. Jettisoned some guys. They jettisoned their closer. They jettisoned AJ Pollock. They did not trade Tarasco. I'll say his name wrong. Teoscar Hernandez. Maybe it's for the best. They've won 7 in a row now, 9 out of 10. They're 10 games, high Martle mark of the year, 10 games over 500, only 5.5 out of first, and 1.5 games out of that wild card. And the Angels have just imploded. Probably some of the worst decision-making. They've done nothing but make their chances of getting Ohtani to re-sign in the offseason worse. And the A's are the A's. The Braves just kind of, what do they got to do? They're treading water for the moment. The danger for the Braves is boredom. They haven't played great. They still got a 9.5 game lead. They're starting to get healthy on their pitching staff. The Phillies starting to make a move here to maybe secure that one of those wild card berths. They've been very streaky, and they're on a good streak right now. Right now, it's the Phillies with the first spot, the Giants with the second spot, the Marlins somehow holding on to that third spot, and the Cubbies, who I also ripped for thinking they're in it, only a half game out of the playoff chase, but you're 3 games over 500. Are you really going to do any damage? Is there any benefit to them making the playoffs and losing in a wild card round? The Reds, who kind of, as we talked about, sat on their hands, probably wisely so. I mean, they're 3 games over their 500. They're 500. Their run differential says they ought to be more. games under 500. Diamondbacks, who have really imploded here, have fallen to 1 game under 500. They've lost 8 in a row, 9 out of 10. It's a young team. Don't panic. I'd like to see them right the ship and play better these last couple of months for the confidence level for next year. But they're not out of the wild card race yet either. Elsewhere in the East, we talked about the Marlins still securing that 3rd spot. Made some mediocre, head-scratching moves, I guess, again, maybe it's them realizing where they are. Got great pitching. They didn't bring anything of value in to me on the offensive side that's really going to help them win here. As Drew pointed out on the show last week, they brought in guys that are really the opposite of the way they like their offensive approach to be. And the Mets, I think the Mets season is going to be, can we find 5 guys to put out there night after night? You might see them have 20 different starters the rest of the year. And can they stay ahead of the Nationals? And do they care? Do they care? What do you got here, Drew? Seems the Marlins' moves aren't proving fruitful yet. The new guys are doing relatively well. It's the rest of the team that has decided to take a vacation since the trade deadline. Listen, this team's not dead yet. They haven't really. I mean, they're 3-7 in their last 10, but I don't. It doesn't feel like a total implosion like the Diamondbacks or even the Angels. And they could very well right the ship because again, the competition to me, unlike the American League, where it's really a bunch of really good teams are going to chase those 3 spots, maybe the last 2 spots if we're going to be fair. It's not a lot of really good teams right now chasing all the wild card spots. The Phillies are flawed. The Marlins are flawed. The Cubs are the Cubs. The Reds, too young. The Giants are probably the best of the lot. And the Diamondbacks, the Padres. So the Met fans, watch some young pitchers that the Mets will throw out there the rest of the year and see whether 2024 is going to be worth paying attention to. In the Central, listen, the Brewers have been playing better baseball. They're only 5-5 in their last 10, but they had a really bad swoon, if you remember, beginning of July, late June. Fell to 500, I want to say. They've climbed back to 8 games over 500. 2.5 ahead of the Cubs, 2.5 ahead of the Reds. I think they made just enough moves in the trade deadline to kind of push them over the top in the Central. And I still think with their pitching, and I love the move Chafin in the bullpen and bring that lefty in to complement Devin Williams, who's just filthy. And maybe the best manager in baseball in Craig Counsell. This team could surprise somebody in the playoffs. Cubs, I still think fooling themselves, but they've climbed to within a half game of the wild card. And, Bill Parcells always said you are what your record says you are. Speaking of Bill Parcells, it was one of his horses, unfortunately, that if you heard the news, I think it was during the 4-Star Dave last week. And forgive me for not remembering the horse's name, was winning a race, 2 gallops probably away from the finish line, and he had a catastrophic injury and had to be put down. One of Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells, a big horse guy now, has a home in Saratoga, has for years. By the way, Bill Parcells is no nicer in person than he is on TV. I can tell you from personal experience running into Mr. Parcells. And I was nice. In other Saratoga news, Dave Portnoy has gotten back full control of Barstool Sports. Love Dave Portnoy. He's obnoxious. His pizza reviews are dead on. And they do some great content. And that's what they're getting back to at Barstool is content. I'm shamefully trying to get myself recognized by Barstool. Me and Frank the Tank should team up for a show. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google some videos of Frank the Tank. Where was I? The Reds, again, 2-8 in last. Look, the Reds could very well make the playoffs. I don't expect them to do much. Their kids are starting to hit the wall, struggle a little bit. Get your comment in a second, Drew. Again, similar to who was I talking about earlier? I guess it was the Diamondbacks. Similar to the Diamondbacks, let's have a good last couple of months. Get a good taste in your mouth going into next year, and then, get the momentum back. Let's hear it for Yelich, long-awaited resurgence. Not MVP. Listen, Christian Yelich has very quietly had a very good year. I picked him up, I don't know, a month or so ago, Drew, in our fantasy league, and he's been a very, very useful stick. His OPS is around 830, I think, without looking at it here. Let's take a look at it. The power is never going to be there again, right? But he's still he's a plus defensive player. He's got a good batting average, good on base percentage. Let's just look at his numbers real quick. I'm glad you brought that up. It's something I've wanted to talk about a couple of times now. He's bounced back. I don't care about his, there he is. Sorry, these will be some counting stats. 64 RBIs, 55 walks, 290 batting average. He has struck out 101 times. He's got 80 runs scored already. He's playing some good baseball here this year. Get some more numbers here on Baseball Reference. By the way, they've certainly done a good job of adding all the stats that I hate, but also the ones that I love. So he has got 16 homers, 64 RBIs. By the way, 16 home runs. He's on a pace for what, 22, 23 home runs? That's nothing to be ashamed of. Close to 100 RBIs. He's stolen 23 bases. The OPS now is 843, 27 doubles. It's a nice rebound resurgence, as Drew says. And again, it's been a few years, 3 years, really, when you think about it, right? COVID had started with. He didn't play well there. He only had 22 RBIs for the whole year. 9-51, 14-57. Wasn't stealing bases. Last year he did get 19. Didn't hit for average. Didn't do anything, basically. Not a good player the last 3 years, and he has resurged nicely. Comeback player of the year. What do you say? Let's get on the bandwagon. Saratoga's 7th race yesterday had 10 horses canceled and ran with just 2. I'm not sure what climate change has to do with that, but what? Did I miss something yesterday? Wasn't hot. We don't want to end the climate change debate here. We can someday. One of the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on America, but that's fine. Or the world. Where was I? I really am curious how climate change comes into that, though, Drew. Not to take it any deeper than that. Oh, thunderstorms. We've never had thunderstorms here in the Northeast. I agree. Oh, It didn't hit my house. I must be the only one who thinks. I can't be the only one who thinks the way I think. I can't be. Oh, where was I? Did I get through the Central? I guess I did. Pirates and the Cardinals, nothing to talk about here. Nothing to see here. Move along. The Pirates went from one of the feel-good stories early in the year to one of the worst teams in baseball, like overnight. I know they're only 11 games under 500, but you look at their run differential, it should be much worse. The Dodgers, 28 I'm sorry, not 28, 22 games over 500 now. With the injuries they've had to their pitching staff, 9-1 in their last 10. They just keep winning. People keep ripping Dave Roberts and the Dodgers' way of going about things. Mark Mancini, if you're out there, call me. All this team does is make the playoffs every year. They overcome injuries. They overcome defections in free agency. They overcome devastating injuries to starting infielders in the middle in spring training or before spring training even. And all they do is keep winning 95 or 100 games a year and compete for championships year after year. The Dodgers, legitimate championship contenders. Dave Roberts, legitimately one of the best managers in baseball. This is probably his best job of managing ever. I don't think there's a lot of debate to that. Gabe Kapler is another guy that I never had a lot of faith in. He's got this team, another flawed team in San Francisco. There's a lot of flawed teams, so that's not unusual, right? But he's got them playing good baseball, 9 games over 500 in the playoffs with the wild card situation. 6.5 behind the Dodgers, not winning the division most likely, not winning 107 games for sure, like he did 2 years ago. But myself and a lot of people have ridiculed him through the years. And he continues to get teams to win. Philadelphia fans chased him out of town, and the Giants were derided when they hired him. But he's getting results, but with platooning and pitchers who are, again, he makes use of numbers that I probably would make my head blow up. Andrew Friedman continues to work miracles behind the scenes just based on 190-year-old Korean pitcher just signed you out there. Oh, Drew, that's a classic one. I hope you put a 0 in there that doesn't belong in there. Oh, that's better. I like it. By the way, the 190-year-old Korean pitcher is a better story. I love it. The Diamondbacks, as we talked about, 8 in a row they've lost, 1-9 in their last 10. The Padres, every time I look, they've either won 3 or lost 4, and they're always 4 games under 500. It seems like every time I look at the standings, they're 4 games under 500. It's getting late. It's getting late, Yankee fans. It's getting late, Guardians, team formerly known as Indians fans. It's getting late, Angel fans. It's over, Met fans. It's getting late, Padres fans. I want to see that 190-year-old pitcher, Drew. Let me put this back up. Not laughing at you. That's an awesome story. It'd be an awesome story if they found a 190-year-old pitcher. That'd be the feel-good story of the year. Then he probably gets suspended because he's using steroids to stay alive for 190 years. Who we got this weekend? Got some nice matchups. The team formerly known as the Indians go to Tampa. Here's a great name. Pronounce this guy's first name for me, Drew. Xavier, maybe just forget the X. Xavier, is it that simple? Curry against Aaron Savali. The Yankees, who are run out of time, get the Marlins, who are desperate to get some wins under their belt. Ian Hamilton starting for the Yankees against Jesus Luzardo. Luzardo. Ian Hamilton. It's going to be a long couple months in New York for the Yankees and Mets fans. Maybe the Orioles should sign a 1,000-year-old man, Rainer. That was one of the great bits of all time. A 1,000-year-old man. Drew, I'm glad that we can show how freaking old we are on this show. Minnesota will face off against the Phillies starting tonight. Dallas Keuchel. Man, I'm just going into a time machine. There was a time Dallas Keuchel would have been a big story starting tonight. Minnesota must be desperate for starters. I know that Keuchel had signed with, I think, the Diamondbacks first, the Rangers second, or maybe reverse that. Washed out with both of them, I think, this year. The series that probably you have to pay people to go watch. Oakland will be at Washington. Oakland? I wonder if my math is right, Drew. I can't even say that. Keuchel? That sounds wrong. Oh, anyway, my limited use of correct pronunciations is become quite comical to me. 8-39 is what the Oakland A's need to do to lose 121 games. Let's get it there. Come on, Oakland fans. The Reds visit Pittsburgh. The Reds trying to stop the bleeding. Maybe a good place to do it. By the way, it's Paul Blackburn against Jonah Dunn in that Washington game. I don't know, I can't stop laughing now. Andrew Abbott against Johan Ovidio in the Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game. The Cubs will go to Toronto. Maybe we find out if the Cubs are for real this weekend. Javier Assad against Jose Barrios. Jose Barrios has not been lighting the world on fire since the Blue Jays signed him 2 years ago from Minnesota. Well, would have been, we thought, a big series here in August. Atlanta will go to the Mets. Charlie Morton against Tyler McGill. This ought to be a huge mismatch. Watch the Mets go and sweep this series. Detroit will go to Boston. We get Tyreek Skubal. Can't we have Smith and Jones tonight against Chris Sale, as we said, returning from injury? Hasn't pitched since June 1st, if we remember correctly. The Angels will go to Houston. The Angels desperately trying to stop this tailspin that they're in, and the Astros still chasing the Rangers, as we talked about. Reed Detmers against Justin Verlander tonight. Not putting a lot of hope in the Angels' chances. The Brewers will go to the White Sox just off a sweep of the Yankees. At one time, that would have been a big comment. Corbin Burns at Michael Kopech. St. Louis against Kansas City. Another, let's pay me to go see this game. Adam Wainwright, well, you see, one of his last starts of his career might be worth a price of admission against Dylan Coleman. San Diego at Arizona. Arizona trying to stop the bleeding. Padres trying to stop being 4 games under 500 forever. Blake Snell against Ryan Nelson. Baltimore at Seattle. Kyle Gibson against Luis Castillo. That should be a good series this weekend. Colorado at the this will be a mismatch. I would say this is a mismatch. The Rockies against the Dodgers, except Lance Lynn is pitching for the Dodgers tonight. And Texas playing some great baseball, will be at the Giants, who we just got through talking about. John Gray against Sky Alexander. How about that? Good series. Some good story. Got to fly. Thanks for popping in, Drew. Thanks for sharing. Sorry about the climate change cracks. I just can't help myself. We will see you Sunday morning. Good to have you with us. Drew is always very helpful. We'll have Drew on live with us a few times as we go forward as well. As I promised Drew I would do, and I'll promise you I would do, and we'll get that done. I hate to go because our viewership is like spiking here. I don't know where we hit, but let's hit it. We'll go for a few more minutes longer. What else we got? Somebody throw a topic at me. I ran out of stuff. For those of you who just joined us, we covered a lot of stuff today. We covered with the Orioles and their ridiculous treatment of Kevin Brown, their announcer, TV announcer, who they suspended for just pointing out how much better the Orioles are now than they were. Oh, what a cardinal sin, or an oil sin, if you will. One of the big stories I got to tell you before we wrap up today, Justin Verlander's pitching for the Astros tonight. If Justin Verlander were to go back and lead this Astro team to another World Series victory, I think it would be a great story. If you remember, he got traded there. You can say whatever you want about their victory in 2017, but he got traded there that year, led him to a World Series. He led them to a World Series last year, or helped them get there. I won't say he necessarily led them. But for him to get traded back there, if they were to win a third World Series, what a great story. What a cap. And he's probably not done, but what a cap on a great career. Justin Verlander, you aren't going to see guys pitch into their 40s very often anymore because of the money that they make and because of the way they baby pitchers. Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, they're throwbacks to a different generation, guys. And you aren't going to see that much again. I've talked about this a lot, the way pitchers, and I recently rewatched the special documentary on Nolan Ryan. You need to watch this documentary, and the way things were so much different 40, 50, even 60 years ago now than they are today, and they were better then. You can't tell me that the pitching is better today overall when you factor in the fact that guys get hurt too much, guys get paid too much money to pitch too few innings, and not even the important innings in games. I talked, a few months ago, June 13th, maybe it was, that it was the anniversary of the game between the Angels and the Red Sox. Louis Tiant pitched against Ryan, and I think Ryan went like 15 innings, and Tiant went 13 innings, and there were no official pitch counts today, but they think Ryan approached 300 pitches that day. He had a pretty goddamn good career after that, didn't he? So I'll finish up today's show with, there's a lot of great young pitchers out there. Let them pitch. These guys that have gotten drafted this year, last year, as you're getting them in the minor leagues and moving them up towards making it to the big show, let them pitch. Let them throw between starts. Stop babying them, because the babying that you're doing of these players, thinking you're helping them, is hurting them. The lack of development of arm strength is what's causing rotator cuff injuries, Tommy John injuries, not to mention a gazillion other injuries. If it's the money, then stop paying them so much money. You've got to change your mindset, executives, Major League Baseball executives and front offices. Change your mindset. Pitchers need to pitch. Pitchers need strong arms. Pitchers need strong legs. They need to pitch in the minors. They need to be pitching from the day you sign them. They need to be not babied, but throwing in between starts, throwing 120 pitches a game, whatever it takes. So that when they get to the majors, the first time it's a sign of trouble when they've thrown 80 pitches, they're not looking at a dugout for somebody to come and get them. That they're able to pitch when they're in trouble. Man. It's something that just makes my freaking head explode, I'm telling you. Please. So we talked about that. We talked about, again, the hypocrisy of teams wanting homers for their announcers. Talked about who's hot, who's not. We talked about Michael Lorenzen's no-hitter the other night. So anyway, guys, what a great turnout today from the looks of what I can see of live viewers today. Tremendous spike in viewership today. Don't know why that is, but whoever you are, please like the show. Follow the show. Like TGI Sports Talk. Follow TGI Sports Talk. Like this video. Share this video to your Facebook page, or wherever. Twitter. Share it somewhere. Invite your friends to like the show. We try to have a fun time here and still tackle the big issues of the day. And sometimes my head explodes, and sometimes I make sense, and other times I don't make any sense at all. But, you know, we try to have some fun. So I want to thank everybody for popping in today. Drew, Dave Guyette, who for whatever reason had to text me his comments about firing Cashman, his weekly comment of firing Cashman, and boom. Guys, thanks a lot. We'll see you Sunday on the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. Everybody is watching me right now. Please tune in 8:30 a.m. Sunday morning. We'll be right back here with the Major League Baseball update next Friday afternoon at 3. And we'll have the college football huddle Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you all then. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Like, share, and ring the bell on YouTube. See you later. Bye-bye.